in this world today, we don't have to hide those things anymore. Trauma, grief, these are the great equalizers in the world. These aren't things that separate us. It actually makes us more united because all of us have had pain in our lives in some capacity. So we let it be seen because the light shining through that is the healing of it. So that's what also, I believe, came out of this incredible journey for us and for anyone who gets to watch this film.
Welcome to the Anniston Riekstins Show. This space is created for the woman coming home to her voice, her power, her way. For the woman remembering who she really is, beneath the noise, beneath the roles, beneath the world's expectations. I'm Anniston, transformational guide, spiritual teacher, best-selling author, and creator, here to walk beside you, to share stories, wisdom, and energy that guide you back home. Here, we lead from the inside out. We create from overflow, not hustle. We rise not by becoming someone else, but by remembering who we've always been. This isn't just a podcast. It's a homecoming. So let's dive in. Hey sisters, welcome back. I have been manifesting this conversation for a long time, and today it's finally here. Here's how it found me. Right as I started feeling this powerful, can't explain it pull back towards horses, deeper than the childhood dream of owning one, this documentary landed in my lap. It's called Rescued Hearts by Dana Croschere and Krisanna Sexton of Live Wild Films. I watched it with Rudy in my living room a few months ago, and by the opening credits, my heart was already blasted wide open. I cried, I laughed, and I transformed. It shifted how I see the horse-human connection, authenticity, embodiment, and what real healing looks like. Dana is an award-winning producer who spent almost 20 years volunteering at horse ranches. The spark for this film came the day she watched a 7-year-old boy with autism speak his first words while with a horse, and she went searching for the science behind moments like that. Krisanna is an award-winning director known for letting stories unfold organically. She came into this project genuinely afraid of horses, and directing it became part of her own healing journey alongside the one that she was filming. Today, Dana and Krisanna are here to talk about making Rescued Hearts, what horses taught them about authenticity, and why this story found the world right now. Links in the show notes. Let's get into it. All right, Dana and Krisanna, I am so excited to have you here today. Thank you for being a willing participant in this manifestation of mine, and more than that, just being willing to come and share your heart and your vision with my community of beautiful women. So thank you.
It is our greatest honor. Truly.
So I want to talk about the documentary, and I want to talk about the name, because the name really stuck out at me, and it didn't include anything, directly right in the name about horse-human connection. However, that's a powerful name. And I want to know, where did that inspiration come from? Was it from your own experience with horses?
That is a beautiful question that I will answer because the name actually came to me so clear. And it was before we even picked up the camera, which is incredibly rare, right? You would think that the story would have to develop first. But I had this just deep calling to start to share with the world the healing power of the horse-human connection, because it's something that, for almost 20 years, I've just been a volunteer. I felt really drawn to horses throughout my life before ever even having met a horse. Like, it was just in my heart. And so when I started volunteering and witnessing things that I call miraculous, autistic children speaking their first words because of horses, and I thought, oh my gosh, there's something happening here. So fast forward, I told Krisanna after a day of volunteering, I really believe that this is information that needs to be brought to the world, because I started to see on social media all of this information being shared tens of thousands of times about the heart and what it is about our connection with these animals and what it does to the human heart and why we feel so. Of course, if we're not terrified, there's a story behind that with Krisanna, right? When you're not super afraid, there can be something really healing in the presence of these incredible animals. And so I started to follow a few of those stories and the science behind what it is about heart coherence when we're in the space with them. And so I felt deep knowing that there is something about how, not just with rescued horses, but it was like how they rescue our hearts and we rescue theirs. And it was like this synergistic thing that as we help them and they help us, and rescued hearts came and stuck. And throughout the entire process, and after Krisanna went through hundreds of hours of content and 2.5 years of travel to 5 countries and 31 cities, it never changed. It always felt true.
Yeah. Well, you don't know this about me yet, but I'm a numerologist and I study the energy of names. And so
Ooh.
I interpreted rescued hearts into the numerical equivalent and what that energy is. And you know what's profound is that the energy is all about healing the heart. Like that is the vibrational equivalent of that name, is about opening people's hearts and healing hearts. I know I'm kind of a geek out about names. And so I always am like, oh, I wonder what that energy is. And that was my experience. That was 100% my experience watching this documentary. From the very beginning, like the opening credits, my heart was just blasted wide open.
Mm.
And I had a profound experience watching. And I sat there thinking, in order for me to feel this way, then I know that you and Krisanna had to have been going through your own heart opening process because you're the anchors of this energy. So can you talk us through that? Like, how did the making of this documentary fundamentally shift you?
Mm. First of all, thank you for what you just shared. I felt that deeply in my heart, and I want to learn more about all the numerology things
I'm
because
your girl.
that
Anytime.
sounds amazing. I did check it out on your website, and I was like, oh, I could go on a deep dive here. So it's very exciting to hear that sort of perspective because I'll never forget, just sort of to revisit what Dana was just sharing, I'll never forget she was like laying in our bed at night on her phone, seeing the science go viral. And then she saw these stories of these rescued animals, and all of a sudden she's like, oh my God, our next film is Rescued Hearts. And we hadn't even really been talking about another film. And I just know, like Dana's knowing, that is her gift. That is her intuitive gift, is her inner knowing. So I never doubted that that would be the name of the film throughout the whole project. Once something comes to her, that is what it is. And, I think that ties perfectly with what you were just asking, because I was saying for a while, I felt like the film was part of even rescuing my own heart. And what Dana just mentioned is really interesting about fear. I actually feel that the activation of fear that I felt around horses was a big part of that healing. I personally don't feel we have to be in a coherent state in order to experience maybe whatever layers of healing are there. Like for me, it was the activation that helped me get clear on, my baseline operating system is probably one of fear, and horses are just magnifying that. And I'll never forget when we had a therapist in our film. I have a bit of her in the film. I don't have the whole thing because there's so many people and there was so much good stuff. But she said, as a therapist, what's really amazing is in one session, I can do more in one session than I can do in like 3 to 6 months of therapy. And a few sessions is like a year of therapy, like talk therapy. And the reason why is because the horses are activating that baseline operating system. So she's like, instead of having to talk about all this stuff in their childhood and memories and whatever, all I have to do is get them in the presence of horses and I see what work they have to do. And then we get to use that embodiment to sort of do like somatic healing work from a therapeutic perspective, right? Like a licensed therapeutic perspective. So yeah, that really helped me see, I don't know if it's as much about the horses. I actually think that I'm able to see myself more clearly in their presence. And then as I do that, I can have more compassion for myself. And then maybe I can just like accept myself here, which I felt the horses doing. Like they didn't have judgment. They didn't need me to be different. They were actually more curious as I was more congruent. And then I was more open to them, even though we were unsure of each other. And at so many places that we'd go to, the people would say, gosh, the horse that's coming up to you, Krisanna, is the one that doesn't really like people. And I would think, yeah, it's probably because I don't really like people. And so we felt that like synergy in each other. And I say that in fun. I really do love people, but my nervous system was very reactive and looking for safety constantly. And so this was the place I started to practice. Even in filming, I was practicing like greater embodiment and love of self in my heightened state. And from there, I think I was accelerating even work that probably would have taken me years without having someone guide me through that process. And that was like, okay, I am obsessed with this. And how do I distill that down? Because it's so far beyond words, and it's not like one research paper. I mean, I read hundreds of research papers. It's not one thing. It's like so many things. And so then if we focus in on the stories, then I think people experience whatever they're meant to in that storytelling process.
Well, I think it's really cool too that obviously Dana had a love for horses, had a history with horses. You weren't overly comfortable. And I think that you represent a significant portion of the population. There is a lot of trepidation, and there's a lot of people who have a healthy fear. Maybe it's a healthy respect, but also a healthy fear of horses. And I once heard a woman, I kind of have a theory around it now, but I once heard a woman talk about how there's a lot of information in the animals that we fear most. We think our spirit animal is like the one that's all like makes us feel all warm and cozy inside, but it's actually the animal we fear because they represent an aspect of them, or what quality that they embody is a quality we've repressed in ourselves or that we fear within ourselves. Can you relate to that? Is that something that, like, because with horses, it's boundaries, it's embodied power, it's embodiment, right? And I used to have a fear of horses growing up, but I was fascinated by them. So it was like this really weird contradiction.
Gosh, that's so powerful. I'm like, I wish we would have had that in our film. Thank you for sharing that. I do think there's something in that. And for me, it's attaching to stories. When I was young, I was on some kind of a horseback riding thing, and the horse ran off. And now I understand more or less why that happens. But I was on the back of this horse running at full speed thinking, oh, I'm going to die. Like, I'm definitely going to die. And then we had a really close friend, maybe a decade ago or so, in the beginning of Dana and I's relationship, that she was kicked in the face by a horse. And it was like in a therapeutic setting. Now, there was so many factors that led to that. The horse was giving signs. It wasn't her horse. The horse was not in the best situation, and there was probably some more force and control. But I literally would walk into filming and visualize that and go, oh my God, am I going to get kicked in the face? You know what I mean? I've actually never talked about that because I didn't want to make people afraid. But I share that because I think there is something powerful in that. And I said, well, I just need to learn more about horses. And then to realize, like, there are these huge animals that are prey animals. They're not out to get us. We're predators more than they are. They're prey. And so they literally just are grazing most of the time. Like, they're very peaceful animals. And so what it would take to get a horse typically to the point where it would cause anyone harm is really intense. And that would typically be a lot of trauma and whatever. And so then I started to see myself in the horse. The more that I heard these stories of, like, gosh, this horse is in a really troubled situation, it is sort of a horse you need to be careful around. But here's why. This is what we know about their past. And even as I edited those stories, it brought me to tears. So much of it's not even in our film. And I would think, oh my God, I'm no different. And I think I'm afraid of myself. I'm afraid of the parts of me that are activated because of trauma and because of programming and all this stuff. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, because that is even a deeper layer.
No, I love that. Well, Dana, I really want to get a little bit deeper into the healing element of working with horses for those that are listening that maybe this is completely new to them and they've never heard of equine therapy. They don't know much about it. I've heard some people say, I just need to spend time around horses. It's like being around the horse is just going to magically heal them, which I don't know that I agree with that. And you probably don't either. I think it's more they just don't participate in our illusion.
Well said. Yeah.
Okay, if you could just go on with, just run with that.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Because it doesn't require an equine therapeutic session to actually have great benefit to being around these incredible animals. And part of it for me, I can speak from my own personal experience. When I first started, I was trying to figure out life and who I was. And I was in corporate America, and my nervous system was a wreck. I had gone through a lot of trauma throughout my life. And so I was drawn to that space. The minute I had an opportunity to get around horses and to volunteer, I did. And it wasn't even because the horses were doing something to me. It was who I was becoming in the space around them. It was quiet. I was connected to nature. I was around animals. There were no words. It was like I didn't have to talk to feel something inside of me. It was just happening organically. And just like in the film, I cannot even believe that the first time I had Krisanna pick up a camera to start filming for Rescued Hearts. We go to this place in Arizona, right? Because we were starting with no money and no following on social media. And like, we just found places here in Arizona to film. And there happened to be an expert in town, the Polyvagal Equine Institute founder, which is a whole thing in and of itself. That's really amazing. And then this incredible woman who is an author of a book that has touched lives around the world called Tao of Equus. And I thought, okay, Linda Kahonov, you know the book?
I just moved into a house that was fully furnished. She had bookcases full of books, and I was like packing them all up and we're shipping them off. She had the book. I've never heard of it. And it like lit up for me. And I have it next to my nightstand and I'm reading that. Sorry, I'm like kind of blown away right now because of the synchronicity of it all. Wow. Okay, go ahead.
And I
Sorry.
would like to add, that's the first time Dana's talked about that book. Like in a conversation.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Because the book like fundamentally changed the way I saw horses. I wasn't even around horses when I read the book. And I was like, there is something here that's so much deeper. And it resonated with me because I never really saw these animals as just this tool that you just control them. And if they're misbehaving, you hit them because it doesn't bother them. Like all these weird things that I was told in horse communities like early on. I read that book and I'm like, these are sentient beings with huge hearts and they're so much deeper. If you look into the eyes of a horse and let yourself be there, it will transport you. It's like not of this world. And I felt whatever God is, whatever creator, whatever source, whatever spirit really means, I felt it and I see it when I look into the eyes of a horse. That's all I knew. So when we began the journey, and I was like, oh my gosh, the author of this book lives in the same state as us. Let's see if we can learn from her. And so we walked into that space, and the therapist was there too, Dr. Rebecca Bailey. And I'll never forget, Krisanna's got her new cinema camera, and we're going on the journey, and it's the first day. And in our film poster that you can see behind Krisanna's head, this horse who was rescued with her mom, it was a mother-daughter pair that she had on the property. We weren't beginning yet. We didn't sit down in the chairs or start any kind of interview. And we met those horses and something happened. It wasn't a therapy session. I wasn't going there with an intention of doing something special with a horse. It was just me being me. And that horse connected with me on a soul level in a way. I'm not talking woo-woo stuff. I'm talking like no words, all heart, all deep connection. And I just cried. And I asked, why am I crying? I feel something so big and so healing to my heart and soul. And Krisanna, thankfully, was filming because as the producer of this film, I didn't even expect to be in it. I just was like, oh, I'm just this volunteer and I witnessed these things, but it was never that personal for me. I never went on the journey thinking this was going to heal something in me. And yet that moment that is so beautifully displayed in our film poster carried us through this entire journey. And then it rippled out. Like you saw the film, it rippled into my family. It became a healing experience. It doesn't take therapy in a setting being around horses to have an impact to your mind, body, and spirit that can forever change your life. That's what I recognized. We can't put it in a box. You can't bottle it up. It just happens when it's meant to happen and how it's meant to happen. And in Krisanna's case, the first time she's around horses and all this fear comes up, and it's something that gives her guidance in her life to look at that will then change her trajectory. And for me, having all of these terrible things happen throughout my life, it was like that horse I felt like it knew that I just needed love. That was so unconditional. And that's what I received in that moment. And so I just believe that we're meant to receive whatever that thing is. And if we're self-aware enough to know, oh my gosh, this is how I'm processing this, and this is what I'm willing to learn and take with me through this. And now 2.5 years later, 3 years later now, things healed in us and in my family that I never thought were possible because of horses. It's a miracle, truly.
Go ahead, Krisanna.
I was like, can I add to that?
She just raised her hand.
Yes,
Well,
she
because it
did.
really, yes, because it activated something for me. Of course, Dana shares so beautifully about this. And I just wanted to add, we were on this journey, and so much of our filming in the beginning was really centered around horses helping humans. And I think that's sort of like the opening for most people. This is a horse, and it is here to help me. Because our framework throughout so much of our civilization and working with horses is that they are tools for our benefit. And that's like a part of the bigger picture and how we treat a lot of nature. That's a deep dive we could go down. But so that was kind of a lot of our filming. And I was really seeking like what's beneath the surface here? What are the universal truths? And then Dana was starting to have us film more with people who were helping horses. We were doing some of that already, but she started to really activate the energy around that. And I was struggling because I didn't really understand what the film was. And I'm like, okay, we're just literally traveling the world and I have so much footage and I don't really see how it comes together. But in meditation, I would get throughout our time filming and even in the edit, I would get little messages. And in one particular meditation, I saw our film as a circle and it was like horses helping humans, humans helping horses. And then I realized part of what I had been struggling with is I know the power of storytelling. And if we were to just stop at how horses help humans, we might create something that actually causes horses more harm. And we saw sometimes there's footage, there's plenty of footage that's not in the film. And this is not a statement of judgment. It's just there was times where the energy wasn't aligned for it to make it into the film. But you could see when someone was like, I need you to heal me. You have to heal me. And isn't that interesting? Don't we do that with people sometimes too? You need this person to get me out of my stuff that is actually, it's my journey, it's my sovereignty. So I say that because it was so important to me. And then I saw that the film is two parts. The first hour was the opening of really more focused how horses help humans. But then the second hour, now that the heart was ready, how humans can also support horses. And maybe it's not even that specific. Those are words I'm using, but I think the deeper truth is that every bit of healing is relational. And in community, we heal better. But when we're also considering the other, when we're also considering how we're showing up to this exchange, especially with an animal that actually often doesn't have a choice. At least with a person who is labeled a healer or whatever, they get to agree to come support you. And that's like a deeper dive. I'm not here to say like all horses are not choosing, but how do we know, right? There's like an energy. Right. And so I really just would look at the footage and what is the energy that feels really pure here, where I feel like this isn't taking something from the horse, but there's something deeper happening. And can we inspire people who only see horses that way to maybe consider another way that looks more relational, that looks more like connection? And in doing that, we weren't going to preach. We weren't going to say, this is the science and this is how horses are being harmed in this way. It was like an invitation. And we've seen over and over as a result from our screenings, people who are very deeply entrenched in the horse world tell us, oh my God, you opened my eyes to a different way of being with my horses or my dog or my kids. And this weekend, I'm just going to go sit with them. I'm just going to see what it looks like to be with them instead of need something from them. So I just had to share that because that's something that was really big for us.
I know, it's just, I think in the book, A Course in Miracles, have you ever heard of that or read it?
Oh, yeah.
Anyways.
I have it right up here.
Right. So the definition of a miracle, a shift in perception, the end, right? It's a shift in perception. And so I think what you have created, it has already and will continue to create miracles. Miracles for horses, miracles for humans, and really being able to reestablish that connection. I also think, and something I study is the divine feminine and how so many of the divine feminine qualities were lost for so long due to the patriarchy. And with those qualities are the very qualities that horses are masters of, right? Of being sentient, clairsentient, feeling into a person, feeling into a situation, boundaries, right? And standing firm in their boundaries, but then also you having to hold your own. So I'm curious, from spending so much time with the horses, what did they teach you most about embodiment?
I think we would probably both have similar experiences that we took from this because we did it all together. Every experience, every horse, every sit down, heart to heart conversation with every human. And through all of that, I think what I learned the most is authenticity. Like that is what these animals, I don't want to say demand because that sounds so harsh, but like if you are not your truest self, that is what they pick up the most. is incongruence. And having lived most of my life up till probably the last decade, because Krisanna and I vowed to each other, like, love me, but leave me wild. Leave me to be my authentic self. But prior to that, I was conditioned. I had a really, really hard upbringing, and I was parentified. I became a parent as a child because of the chaos in my home and the abuse I was enduring outside of our home. And it was like I had to be somebody that could just fit in and be safe and please all the people so that I could control my situation. And I think on top of that, knowing who I was as a gay person, I knew at a really young age that I wasn't like other girls in school. And like, and so any time throughout my life that I lived out of alignment in some capacity, it was like I felt like my soul was dying. And so fast forward to this journey and to my relationship with Krisanna and a lot of heartache prior to that, stepping into my truest self and saying, that's it. Love me, hate me, leave me, stay. It doesn't matter anymore. This is who I am. And this is how I deserve to be treated in this world. And I deserve to live authentically. And I don't need to have everybody's approval. And still, it breaks my heart that there are people out there that think gay people are like the worst version of human that exists. And all I do is love. I'm a walking heart on this planet. And so because of that, I would just feel crushed. So horses are like the epitome of authenticity. They don't care about all the labels. They don't care. All they care about is congruency and safety, and that you are who you say you are. You're stepping into this space as the real you. You could be full of grief or anger or fear or whatever, but as long as you're really who you truly are inside, that is safe, right? And so that's what I've carried through. And even in spaces where we'll have a 350 person sold out screening, and then Krisanna and I come on stage and we're like filmmakers, partners in filmmaking, partners in life, and we just are that. And we don't apologize for it. And our film and these horses bring people together from all walks of life, and all people leave feeling is love. Like people will tell us they felt healed through the screen of this film. And so maybe what they're teaching us is just to love each other and love ourselves more and be who we truly are. If I had to summarize it, that's how I feel. And it's taught us to walk
said.
through life. Thank you. That's my heart. And I just, I have deep gratitude because so many of us walk through life having to like just be something and someone that we aren't for the peace and the happiness of everybody besides us. And that's tired. That's a tired story. It's like, if we just can't love ourselves and each other for who and what we are, like, what are we even doing? So, okay, that's it.
Oh, it was beautiful. Like, so beautiful. Krisanna, what about you?
Gosh. Yeah, that was so profound. I resonate with everything Dana shared. And I think the other part of embodiment was allowing ourselves to be moved by this story. And it's maybe not a common filmmaking way. I've sort of let go of whatever is the common filmmaking way because Dana has not been trained in the same kind of filmmaking and storytelling processes, and what we're doing is working. And at the same time, I think we really had, in creating this film, like our last film was very intimately connected to us and our stories. And so we were like, okay, this time we are not going to be in it. This is an idea-based film. We are going to be the documentarians of a story that is bigger than us. And then Dana shared about that first time. And so the embodiment piece was really like, can we allow this to just be whatever it is? And what if the journey is also part of healing us? What if it's also like guiding us? So we're not actually creating it necessarily. It's being created through us. And I even found in my edit, I could share so many examples of this. There were times my computer would crash. And it was because whatever I was editing was something that was activating. It was like a trigger for me. And then I would have to go and like meditate and journal and really process what is coming up for me. And then as soon as I did that, No more computer issues. So it was like, yeah, just allowing things to be what they are and trusting that there is a force of good and it's guiding us and it's always guided us and it's connected. It's like there's a story that's bigger that my intellect can't even perceive. But what are the blocks I have within me to be a clear conduit of that message of love? Not from an ego place, but from a place of service, from a place of like, I just want to honor the all that is because this life is so precious. And it brings me to tears like that. That's over and over, I think, what's been reinforced even as we allowed the scene with Dana and her dad. When we filmed it, I didn't know if we would be okay including that. I didn't know if it would honor him or if he would be okay as we edited it, showed it to him and had edited it, if he would be okay with it being in the film. But that was just the trusting and the allowing. And then from there, so many people around the world are telling us they're feeling healed by that moment between Dana and her dad. And now that he's passed, we would have never predicted that this would be a way that we've memorialized him. Like forever, we'll be able to see him from this place and not only think about the very end when he suffered the most. So I know that was like a lot there, but yeah, I think those are all my thoughts on that.
Can I just add one thing to her thought?
Yes.
And then I would love to hear your reflection. But
Yeah.
what Krisanna just said sparked something in me, because I think the greatest healing and embodiment and the gift of what we experienced is the power of allowing ourselves to be seen, like vulnerably, like truly seen, because we just don't know who else is out there that's going to help. And we see that over and over again anytime people watch this film. And so my dad and I had this talk like, hey, if this can help even one person, he said, it's worth it. And my dad had zero level of vulnerability before this experience with a horse. I'm talking like fully armored heart. And so that in and of itself was a miracle. And then for people to come up to us after being at film screenings or after they've seen it online, like people are about to all over the world very soon, they'll write to us this novel and like so grateful for allowing ourselves to be seen in the story because they could also see themselves. And so if there's the greatest gift in my mind was, Krisanna, I'll never forget running down the stairs and she's crying. And she says, Dana, I just edited this scene with you in South Africa and so much came up. Like she just said, are you sure? Are you sure you're ready for this to be seen by the whole world? Potentially, like whoever is meant to see this film, are you ready? And I looked at her and I said, yeah, it's time. It's time. In this world today, we don't have to hide those things anymore. It only unites us. It doesn't divide us. Trauma, grief, these are the great equalizers in the world. These aren't things that separate us. It actually makes us more united because all of us have had pain in our lives in some capacity. So we let it be seen because the light shining through that is the healing of it. So that's what also, I believe, came out of this incredible journey for us and for anyone who gets to watch this film.
And I love that you said the greatest gift of embodiment that you received from the horses was authenticity. And yet you're hearing mirrored back, the greatest gift people are receiving from watching this is the gift of your authenticity. And it's like the gift that keeps on giving. It's the catalyzer. It unlocks people's hearts and gives them permission to do the same, even if they don't consciously understand it yet. But you'll feel it. That's what I felt it. I felt it while watching. And I often think as a creator, and you mentioned this on the recording you did on the Empowered Life podcast with Rudy. So if you guys are listening to this, you need to go and check that one out too, because it was so good. But you said that you had to create this for you first. This was created for both of you first. And I fully believe, as someone who's an author and someone who's a creator too, that we first get to get impacted by our work. We have to be initiated by it at such a deep level so that we are actually embodying it by the time other people are then being initiated by it and impacted by it. But the challenge is you're not getting the reflection throughout yet of what this impact will be. right? It's like Krisanna, like having to sit for so many hours editing and thinking, are people even going to relate to this? Are they going to think this is woo? What are they going to think? And you just have to keep going. And the majority of women that listen to this podcast are soul-led entrepreneurs, and they are like you. They have an inspiration. And the question is every day, like, will I keep going without being able to see 6 steps in front of me? So what advice would you give to them now that you're on this side of this beautiful creation that no doubt is going to change the world? What advice would you give to them?
That's you, babe.
I was like, I want to hear Dana's.
No, because I remember the days of Krisanna coming to me and saying, okay, first of all, I love you and I don't know what you've done to me. You dragged me around the world. We have hundreds of hours of footage. I don't even know if I have a film. And I'm like, oh my God. Go back into your heart and remember what we experienced along the way. It's there. It's just the excavating process of all of this. And I could watch Krisanna feel into the audience as she was editing. She had this gift of feeling the other side of the screen before it was complete. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be magical. And most projects of this scale, okay, I will go first. I'm like already on a roll. Project of this scale, a book, launching a business, creating a documentary, like anything that has that much, it's huge, so much magnitude, can also have so much impact, right? But I think even just taking messy action when you can't see the finish line, because Krisanna and I can get wrapped up in being perfectionists. We want everything to be just right and so perfect and all the things. And this is something we're healing within ourselves. So for me, it was like taking that first step, having no idea what the outcome was going to be, because it's following that passion. When you can't stop thinking about that thing, when it just is in your heart, and it's like when you want to say something and your heart starts beating and you're like in a crowd and it's begging you to come out, or that thing is begging you to birth it into the world, and it's terrifying. And you don't know if anyone is going to give a shit about what you just put your entire heart and soul, time, energy, money, whatever that thing is. You just have to trust, because there's a reason it's so powerful within you first. And so we took the step and then the next step, and we never, ever knew what the outcome was going to be. And the fact that this got created, like most films, like on average, can take over 5 years to create. Ours took 2.5. That in and of itself was a miracle. Most people struggled to find the money. We fundraised for the first time ever and got everything we needed and more to create the thing because we believed in it. And if you don't believe in your thing enough, how is anybody else going to? That was one of the biggest lessons. The passion has to be there. Believe in it so deeply that other people can't help but believe in it too, because they feel that within you and they want to support that thing. And then just keep going. Like, don't give up. It's worth it. Even if it's because of who you become in the process, not because of what you just created.
Yeah.
Oh, so many
feel
things
that.
in there. All right, Krisanna, go for it.
I love that, because I feel like what Dana did was put the nuance to maybe what I'm about to share. And I don't know how many people follow channelers or Bashar, but there's a formula that he shares. Okay. There's a formula that he shares, and we are in the woo, but we're not. I didn't want any woo in our film, which is hilarious. Then we went to South Africa, and I was like, this is not about me.
With Candace.
Yes, this is not about me. And this is not about keeping something out of anything. It all exists here. Okay, so Bashar's formula, you can look it up online. But the way that I interpret it is you follow the excitement. You follow the energy. And what happened in this case is I was following Dana's excitement and energy, and then eventually found it for myself, but not without a lot of hard work. Oh my God. I mean, we are not victims of it, but the amount of hours I worked, the amount of clients I juggled to pay for things, the fundraising helped, but it didn't pay for a lot. So we were funding a lot of things ourselves in the beginning, especially. But yeah, you follow the excitement, and then you do that with all that you have, and then you release any attachment to the outcome. And I think at some point we sort of did have to have that resolve, but we didn't do that without a lot of intention. We were testing constantly. Dana would say, let's do a community call, and 55 countries would sign up. to join a community call, or like 1,500 people join a community call, and then we would share stuff with them. And it was part of activating people, building the audience, raising funds. But I think it's like that. You follow the energy, lead with your heart. For us, it was like a lot of intensity and a lot of work, but that's just how we operate. And then the other piece of that too, and this isn't about fear for me, but ever since I read Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Big Magic, many years ago, like planted something in my mind. If something is ready to come through and I know it, but I don't take action, that's fine. It's going to go to someone else.
It's going to land in someone else's brain.
Yes. And maybe even now we're seeing so many horse films be produced. And I'm not saying we were like the trailblazers of that or anything, but there's something in the zeitgeist, right? Something is happening. And so we're not competing. We love seeing other stories come through, but we stayed focused. Like I actually refused to watch anyone else's horse film because I didn't want my perspective to be jaded. I didn't watch a single movie. I didn't listen to a single podcast. I didn't read a single book. The whole time we were in this process, which sounds crazy, but I felt like we're writing our own thing. We're creating our own thing, and I don't want to have outside influence. I want to see what comes through naturally and organically. So I know you probably wanted like 3 steps, but that was my
No,
tangible.
actually, it was exactly what I wanted because it was real. And I think, like you said about timing, and now you're seeing a lot of these horse things come around. Like, I think that's being a really good steward of your creation, right? And it's being a really good steward of knowing our limitations as humans, that when we hear outside voices or we hear other opinions, it is very hard, right? To not let that skew and potentially dilute the original inspiration. And what I experienced watching your documentary was a very pure frequency. So that was felt. It was both of you, right? And it was your experience going through it. And so I know by now everyone listening is like, I want to watch the documentary. Where do I get to watch the documentary? So why don't you go ahead and tell them how they can access it, because they have a really special opportunity right now.
Yeah, so on our website, go there now. Rescued Hearts
I'll link
Film.
it too.
Oh, cool. RescuedHeartsFilm.com. You can go to the homepage. There's also, if you type in /watch, that will take you right to the page that sort of breaks this down. But the main thing you need to know is you simply have to purchase a ticket by August 10th. We do have a deadline because we have a lot of community screenings around the world. And if we make the film available all the time at this critical point, then it sort of dilutes the power of the in-person gatherings. So by August 10th, buy your access. There's a sliding scale. You have the opportunity to gift. And if anyone is really struggling, you're welcome to reach out to us. We have discount codes and hardship tickets available because we're really interested in getting this out. There's 18 language translations. And starting August 1st, which, oh my God, is in a couple days, that's when the film becomes available to watch. And if you buy your ticket now, you actually have 30 days. It acts like a rental. So I just keep saying the same thing, though. The main thing to know is it ends August 10th. And we're really excited about the worldwide conversation that's already happening. We have emails, like so many emails in our inbox right now. We haven't even gotten back to people because there's so much energy. And I love seeing the ripple effect of people sharing. And so even if you wanted to watch the trailer, see if it resonates with you. And if it does, send it to a friend. Send it to someone who might just be really struggling and need some inspiration. It's not just a film for horse people. It is a film for anyone, especially, I would say, people who are on healing journeys and maybe even just looking to feel inspired and hope about the future. We hear that over and over. People tell us, this film changed my life. And like, I'm showing up differently because of watching it, and I'm not even getting around horses. So I just wanted to add that as well.
Oh, I love it. Well, thank you so much. I want to thank both of you for your time. And I want to thank you for following that inspiration and creating this unbelievable piece of work that is right on time. It's right on time for where humanity is. It's right on time for what we're ready for and where we're going. And so I just want to encourage all of you that are listening. You're listening for a reason. You were drawn to this episode for a reason. And I would really encourage you to click on the link below and experience this for yourself. And as Krisanna said, if you feel inspired, share it with anyone you think could benefit from it as well. I want to thank you again, Dana and Krisanna, for joining me today and for your time. And I look forward to witnessing the unfoldment of what this will be and being your cheerleader forevermore. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you for being here, beautiful soul. If this episode spoke to you, I'd love for you to pass it along to another woman who might need these words today. And if you feel called, it would mean so much if you would take a moment to rate and review this podcast. It's one of the best ways to support this work and help these messages reach more women who are ready to remember who they are. And if you'd like to stay connected or share what's landing for you, come find me over on Instagram. I'd love to meet you there. Until next time, keep trusting your rhythm, keep honoring your voice, and keep becoming the woman you were always meant to be.